It's Sunday, October 13, 2024. So today, my wife's making a nice turkey dinner today because tomorrow proper is Thanksgiving here in Canada. And so we're having some friends over, having turkey dinner, but I need to accomplish a few things before we break for the festivities. Now yesterday I worked ahead a little bit, and you can see that I took the wax that I had poured out of the molds, and you can see the color of it is just beautiful. It came out of the molds quite nicely, minimal crackage and breakage. This one I'd poured earlier, it cracked more, but it looks pretty good. And it looks like overall, when I'm all done with that and what's left here, probably end up with near 200 pounds of wax. But I'll weigh it when I'm done. So yesterday, as I left you last time, I had left the melter off to cool so that I could take the top puck of wax off of that. Now, there was far more wax left in there than I had anticipated, and I didn't put enough water in there as a result. So what happened was the wax puck was actually right down on top of the screen that I put in there. There wasn't enough separation there for my liking, but I did get it out. There was, as you can see here, was 1.5 inches of wax there. I got to it while it was still malleable, so I was able to tear it and fold it and get it to come up out of there. So I put a bunch more wax in there, put another, I don't know, 4 inches of water. I didn't put more wax in, I put more water. So I put about 4 inches more water in there and then turned it up again to melt the wax. And so I've just turned it off actually, and I can see that there's probably another 3/4 of an inch of wax on top, which is perfect. Once that cools, I'll fold that up, take that wax out. Then I need to drain the water, clean the slum out, kind of give it a scrape and get some of the nasty out of there. And then all of this wax, probably this wax will go back in first, and I'll pour that off in my strainer. And then when that's done, then I will have initially strained all the wax. Then I'll put some water back in here, right up to an inch below that mid tap, and then put all of my wax back in here. And then I can pour it off the mid tap, and that'll result in nice clean wax without any special filtering at all. Not as clean as a filtered wax, but very nice clean rendered wax. So that's all I can do at this point. Now this has to cool. The strainer, the screen thing, is still in here, although it's starting to float a little bit. It's not floating, the slum is floating, but that's okay. It's well below the wax level. There's nothing to see, it's just dark liquid. And so that'll cool, and then perhaps tomorrow, I can pull that wax out of there and take after the rest. However, tomorrow I have another plan, and that is looking at the forecast. As you know, any kind of farming is really dictated by what's going on with the weather. And today would be a good day, but tomorrow would be probably even a better day for moving bees. And so today I'm going to take the mower off my tractor. I'm going to take the black trailer off the truck, and then hook the truck to the long trailer and load the tractor. So that's going to be on the trailer, strapped down, ready to roll tomorrow morning, and then I can go out and get my bees. Particularly the unfenced out yard, I want to get those bees out of there just to, increase their safety from bears and whatnot, because there's still a bear out there. And I'll get the other out yard as well while I'm at it. It's a good day, so I'll do that, and then I can dismantle that fence and bring everything home. You can hear my dehumidifier just starting up in here, keeping the humidity down. And yeah, so I think that's about all that's going to go on today. Get that tractor on there and strapped down, and then I can go in for turkey dinner. So thanks to my wife for preparing all that. It'll be good to see some friends today, have a nice meal together. So I hope you're having a great day as well. Thanks for watching, and I'll video some of this tractor prep thing too. It rained a lot yesterday. It started, I don't know, maybe 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It started raining. It rained a lot, so it's wet. I have to get down on the ground and get the mower off, so I'm going to get wet getting that mower off. But such as it is, it's only about 8°C outside, so it's pretty chilly. You can see I'm in long pants, so you know it's cold. So it is what it is, right? Got to prep for tomorrow. Thanks for watching. It's Monday, October 14, 2024, and a cool Monday it is. My weather app said it's 1°C. I think it's more like 2 or 3, but regardless, you know, it's cold. I'm wearing long pants. No jacket yet though, so, you know, it's not that cold. So I'm here at the unfenced out yard. I guess that's how I describe them in my channel. And yeah, so I just got to unload the trailer. I found a little depression in the yard here, so I backed the trailer up in here, and I'm hoping that that gives me a little better clearance for unloading. The tractor is much better for unloading without the mower on, but the backhoe bottoms out, and I have a second chance with that, because if it bottoms out too badly, I can actually just raise the backhoe bucket and stick it out straight out the back and back up, and that's all good. So it's a great day for moving bees. It's a little breezy, not too bad. It's sunny. The sun is nice and warm. Well, that's the last time I moved bees before the bees move indoors. And I still haven't really settled on where I'm going to winter the outdoor hives. Yeah, I really don't know. Maybe I could make a wind block with some of my spare equipment here and kind of set them. I'd like them to be in this area, but I don't know, I haven't decided. I would like them to be in an area where they're going to get covered in snow and be sheltered from the north wind. North wind's very, very cold. So, yeah, there are some areas, but here's the conundrum. In the fall, it's fine. You know, it gets cold like this. You can put these bees anywhere you want. You can move them 50 feet, you can move them 5 feet, you can move them a mile. It doesn't matter. They're in the hive, they don't know where they live. However, in the spring, the temperatures will actually get fairly warm up to, you know, flight temperatures before there's enough, you know, melting of the snow to be able to move the bees. So by the time I'm able to access the bees, they're fully oriented to where they are, and it might be a little, I mean, it's going to be muddy, but it might be a little difficult to just move them. I have a place right here, but, you know, it's 50 yards, and I don't know if maybe in the spring I'd hate that to take them, say I want to take them from there into here, inside the fence, obviously, and into my apiary where they belong. So I really haven't decided on that yet. This outdoor wintering thing is kind of new for me. So yeah, well, I've got some things to clean up. I got to close the fence, and there's all kinds of stuff in the truck and whatnot. So I won't bore you with that. I really appreciate you watching this bee moving day. I'm gonna go in where it's warm, and I'm gonna see my wife. She's warm too, and maybe have some leftover turkey dinner. That would be really nice. I haven't hardly eaten anything today, and I don't know what time it is, but it's well into, well, the sun is way over there, so it's got to be 3, 4 o'clock. So it's not super late, but I've been at this for a little while. Again, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Take care and have fun. It's Tuesday, October 15, 2024. So I've worked ahead a little bit here. I honestly don't remember exactly where I left you, but what I've done is I've dumped the wax out of the molds here, and of course that dehumidifier starts up as soon as I start video. And I've pulled the wax cake that was on top of the water, and I had a little bit of difficulty because I underestimated the amount of wax that was in the melter. So what I did was I didn't get enough water in there to separate the wax from the big cage thing that was in there. But you can see the color of this wax is just beautiful. And I'm going to end up with close to 200 pounds, I think, of wax. Now, I've taken the wax out of this twice. So the first time there was about this much, is about 1.5 inches of wax almost, I think. And so I folded that. As you can see, I got to it while it was still malleable. And I got that out. It was difficult, but I pulled that out. It was right on top of the screen. You can see the pattern of the screen on the wax. So then I put more water. I put a few inches more water, warmed it again, and then let it cool again. And this is what I got. So if I had put another inch of water in there to begin with, I'd have saved myself some work. But suffice it to say, that's out. The melter is not cold, but it's definitely below the melting point of wax. You can see little chips here. So this is kind of a puck. I hope to be able to break this up. This is mostly slum in here. So my challenge now is I need to drain the water that's under the slum and break the slum up and get it out of there. So this is kind of a disgusting job, and I don't have my tripod with me, so I'll spare you the gory details of this, and that's really what I'm going to do here. Nothing too exciting. Okay, I've cleaned out the solid slum out of there, which there was plenty. I used this pail in there, which I had to take 3 trips out and dump it outside. Now I have to heat this up again. I wasn't wanting to heat it up right now, but there's wax in the valve here, so I need to get it hot. Hopefully soften that wax so I can pull it out. Carrie gave me a really good idea, I thought. They melt their wax a little differently than I do. They kind of do it ongoing. They don't use their tank the way I do as far as honey goes. So the tank sits, the melter sits right beside the cow and spinner, and they just continuously feed the thing and then pour off bricks of wax as they go, just as a primary pour, kind of what I'm doing here right now. So what she told me, she said, when you're done pouring wax for the day, or at least in her case, when she's done pouring wax for the day, she gets melter wax too, or melter honey. She gets melter honey too. So she said when she's done pouring the wax for the day, she'll dump some melter honey back in there. And I don't know what it would take. It might take a couple gallons, maybe a gallon, maybe 2. The bottom of this thing is sloped very nicely, but of course the valve opening isn't right at the bottom. There's always a little space there. So she pours in some melter honey back into the tank, and of course, being more dense than wax, it goes to the bottom. And while it's all hot, that honey will fill the valve cavity. So next day, her valve cavity is not right full of set up wax. So I thought that was really quite brilliant. I really appreciate that tip. So this has got to heat up again, and then I'm just going to clean there's water and there's still quite a bit of slum, but just small pieces, stuff that'll come out the valve. Pour that out, and then stick this wax back in, melt it, and then I'll bring it out just like I did this wax, and I'll just strain it through my nasty old strainer here to get all the chunks out of it and pour it. Then I'll clean the melter a little bit, just so there's no chunks of slum in there. Then I'll put all this wax back in, a whole bunch of water right up to below this mid-tap, and then I'll do a nice mid-tap pour off of that. Hopefully I have water service in this building that long, because this is going to take me one more day now. And I think it was -7 last night here, so my water line is froze up now. And I hope it thaws out today. It's about 3 right now outside, so it is above freezing, but it does take a long time even at that when it's not very far above freezing. So what's on the docket for today is oxalic acid vapor. Got the bees home now. Got to do some oxalic acid vapor. So I'm going to take all my equipment out there in the truck, and we're going to get at that. Hopefully we can work all day at that before I play out. So hope you enjoy it. Thanks for watching. Okay, before I get all decked out with my respirator and whatnot, and about that, I want to say, don't use this video as a how-to. Don't copy what I do. Don't use me as the standard as to what you should do. I believe I'm doing this correctly as far as treating. I believe I'm doing it correctly as far as protecting myself with PPE. However, don't use that as your standard. You do your own research and you find out what you need to do. This is acid you're dealing with, and this is my approach to it. I generally will wear one glove, so I've got something I can touch, acidy parts and hot parts on the vaporizer, etc. And then one free hand so that I can do finer work. I find gloves very cumbersome. And I also wear a respirator to protect my lungs, protect my body, because oxalic acid is something that can accumulate in your kidneys And I'm not going to go more into that because that's medical and I don't do medical advice. But it's not just something, like formic acid isn't like that, but oxalic acid is. So I want to protect my lungs. I also wear a full face respirator because if you have the cap blow off of an oxalic acid vaporizer, this stuff goes everywhere, and boy, you don't want to get that in the eyes. I just spent a lot of money on my eyes, so I don't want to ruin them. I don't want to go blind either, but I got a dollar value investment now, right? So, so that's my Norm Abram style safety warning. Suffice it at that. I've got here a brand new toy, and I have the manufacturer of this to thank, and I have Mike at Dancing Bee Manitoba to thank. They reached out to me and they said, "Hey, we'd like to get your opinion on using this product." And so I said I would be more than happy to do that. One stipulation, though, and I didn't have to make this stipulation. Each of them actually made this stipulation. Only the truth. So if there's something about this that I don't like or I think can be improved, I'm going to tell you, because these are a considerable investment, and they are a very considerable investment when you add the batteries to them. And I think you know what I'm going to bring out of the box. This is an InstantVap Mini. I think it's called InstantVap Mini. Compact. InstantVap Compact, it's called. So I think you're very familiar with seeing these online. So I don't really need to go into it. But the difference between the compact and what do we call it? The obese one, the big one, is this is much smaller and simpler in this regard. This has a light here that will tell me everything I need to know. It doesn't have a large display with temperature readings and and that kind of stuff on it. So because really, this is preset. I don't need to worry about all that stuff. This little red light here, that'll tell me what I need to know. It'll tell me when the unit is up to temperature. It'll tell me when it's treating. It'll tell me when it's done treating. So we're going to read the directions together. And then, of course, the battery connection here. So I've got a myriad of batteries here. And, these things are definitely an investment, and fortunately you can order them. I ordered this with the Milwaukee connector because that's the battery system I have. I have lots of Milwaukee M18 tools, and so this fits right into that system. If you have a DeWalt system, get the DeWalt connector. They're kind of sold that way, so you're not going to be changing this. It might be nice if they would make it so that you could just simplify their manufacturing so that you could have a tool, have an adapter that you just kind of click onto the tool, and then if my buddy wants to borrow this, my buddy's is a DeWalt guy, then he can just buy the adapter, click on there. So there's an idea. But to date, they're not like that. So they're built right in. This is a Milwaukee system tool, right? So the battery will click in there. The first things I notice, boy, this thing is well made. As far as material goes, this is nice and robust stainless steel. I don't have to worry about the burn chamber. I believe there's insulation inside this part to keep the burn chamber warm. That's important for us. When we got into using these tools in our climate, we're using these tools at 5C or even colder. Today, right now, I think it was 3 when I came out. It really hits the performance of these when that bowl isn't insulated. So we ended up, actually, I got this idea from Ian. I forgot his name. So I got this idea from Ian. He wrapped it with they call it muffler tape or something. I don't know if it's muffler tape, but it's kind of a woven fabric strip that doesn't burn kind of thing. So we wrapped it with that. That helped out an awful lot. It was a little goofy looking, but boy, did it ever work. So I think these are actually insulated inside here. And this tip, one of my favorite things about this is I believe this nozzle is actually replaceable, because that's one of the biggest problems I had with both my ProVap and my Larrabee's vaporizer, mostly the ProVap, because its tube comes out, where does it come out the bottom, and then it goes up the top and it snakes around, so it's really easy to bend that. I think it actually is the other way. It comes out top and it goes down the bottom. I haven't used it in a long time. I'll talk about those two tools a little bit. The ProVap, that lasted me years. It's still going, but it has a pretty big problem. I can't use it. So it still works just fine, except the fact that it has a two-piece bowl as the base, and then the copper ring around the thing kind of just friction fits on that. And with mine, I had to fix it a number of times concerning that exit tube coming out would break and bend, and so I've had to have that fixed a number of times. And I guess through all that process, it doesn't fit on that base properly, and you put the acid in, close the lid, and it just shoots out the bottom. It shoots out that mating surface between the ring and the base. So the two-piece bowl is kind of the death nail for that one. Now, the Larrabee's one, you know, I really hate to disparage the unit, and I don't really disparage the unit because I like Rob, and he's really treated me well as far as that Larrabee's vaporizer goes. And I'm talking about the corded unit, the original one that he made. It worked well, but you know, I actually only got not even a full day of vaporizing when it was brand new, and he sent me an update of the mounting base under the bowl, so I fixed that. And then I used it for another season, and I think it was the next season I used it for a little while, and the band heater burned out on it, and I was running that thing exactly the same way as the ProVap. Sometimes I'd string the long cords from the house, and sometimes I'd use generator. ProVap never had any issues that way. So the band heater blew out on it. He sent me new band heater. I fixed it up. I think that base was always a problem. His was nicer. It had a one-piece bowl on it, so it didn't leak that way. And he actually sent me a new unit to use because I was having so many problems. I've never used that one. It's still sitting here because these guys chimed in before I got to use it, to be honest. So it's Janos is the manufacturer. That's his name, and he contacted me, and between him and Mike, Dancing Bee Manitoba, they sent me this over. But again, I made it clear that I'm not, you know, selling things for them. If it don't work right, I'm going to tell you it doesn't work right, and they're confident that I'll love it, and I'm pretty sure I'll love it too. I've heard some really good reviews of these. Ian has a couple of the larger ones. I think he did get a third. I think he did get a compact. But regardless, that was the deal. That nothing but the truth. Actually, Janos, that was part of his deal. He said, "I won't do this for you unless you tell the truth." So that was really nice to hear because that's what I was thinking too. All right. Well, I'm going to put this together. I'll get all the acid, the PPE, and we'll get at this. Yeah, it's a nice day for it. It's nice that there's a bit of a breeze because I want to know reliably where that vapor cloud is going to be going, and it's a pretty well a dead south breeze, which is good because that's the warmer breeze that we have. All right, enough talk. Let's get to work. I'm pretty happy with this so far. I'm giving them a 4-gram dose now, and I did 11 hives at 4 grams on a 5-amp battery. So I'm gonna, but I warmed that thing up on the 5-amp battery too. So that's gonna reduce the number of hives. Once it's warm, you get more hives out of it. So it's done again. It keeps me hopping. So I think I'm in love at this point. This time of year, boy, every hour I can stand to be at work. I play out pretty fast. It really counts. So I'll update you again if anything else goes on, but other than that, this is all I'm doing. This is what I'm just treating these bees. So it's going to take me a while. There's a lot of bees here. I haven't even counted, but I was sure blessed this year with a lot of helpful people. So we'll leave it at that. Thanks again for watching. Take care and have fun. It's Wednesday, October 16th, 2024, and I'm taking the day off. It's Thursday, October 17th, 2024. So last I left you with this is I took the thin pucks of wax off the top of the water layer here. And of course, you know, they had a lot of slum in them, and so they're not real clean, or they weren't real clean. So now I can see in here that there's some nice clear wax, but there's a bunch of slum in there as well. And most of the slum has gone to the bottom. So today I'm just going to pour that off through my strainer into these black trays, and then we'll let that sit. So that's really all that I have here to do with the wax today. And then tomorrow I can start with put the water in here, put all the wax back in, but I'll detail that tomorrow. I've got my nasty wax strainer here. I don't know if this is going to be plugged with solid wax or not. We'll see. I can hear it, so I think we're in good shape. Oh yeah, that looks good. So again, this is really doing exactly the same thing as I did the first time. This is just the wax that was kind of entrapped in the slum. I've picked all the slum out of the tank. I've moved it out, thrown it out in the trees. There's a little bit of a plug there. I'll get a couple of these trays out of here. Just really a little bit came out of that, not much. It's beautiful wax. I think I'm going to get more than 3 trays. And these were weighing, were they 15 pounds or so? It's getting down to the slum layer, so it gets kind of congested. Well, there's not much in there. We'll just get what we can. I should have finished off with the other tray. That's all right. It's gonna go back in there again. I don't know why they don't make equipment with the drain at the bottom so that everything will drain out. Every piece of equipment I run into in this business, the drain is just a little bit above the bottom of the tank. But anyway, so what I could do, put some water in there again, let it cool off, and then I can kind of pull the waxy slum out of there, kind of render it next time. But I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do here is I'll set this aside, and I'm going to forfeit whatever wax is left in here. There's really not much. There's maybe a quarter of a pound. And then I'm going to kind of wash this out, get the other wax over in here. I can fill this with water, because don't forget, I'm losing water service in this building these days, and I need to get this done, or I certainly want to get it done. All right, you can see the melter is pretty clean. It doesn't have to be spick and span for this, because you see any debris there that's floating on the water, that's exactly what I'm going to be separating, and anything that's actually in the wax. So you can see here that I brought the water level up a little closer to the mid tap than an inch. That's probably about 3/4. That's because, you know, I've already strained this wax, and there's very little impurity on the bottom of it now. So I will have that much wax left. I will have from the water to the bottom of the mid tap left when I'm done this, and I'll have to drain that off and strain it with my nasty old strainer again, and that's as good as I'm going to be able to get with that. And that'll be fine, because that'll be the wax I keep for waxing my frames, and it doesn't matter if it's super clean for that purpose. Put the wax back in this melter. Now I filled it with hot water, and the jacket is running at 80 C, so it's pretty warm. I want to be still a bit careful with that. Honestly, this step is not needed, because this wax is pretty clean already, as you can see. But this will just make it better, right? Better is always better. This will take some time to melt, and by the time this is getting melted, the other wax I just poured will be ready, and I can put that in. I suppose there'd be no issue to put that wax that I just poured in there liquid. Just a little weird to handle. Try to pour it out of that tub, but it doesn't all come out. Doesn't matter if it sits up, but it has to go under the lid. It'll go down as it melts. It'll just go right down. Okay. I'll likely come back later today, before I shut down for the day, and put those other 3 bricks in there. Then it'll be ready to pour off here tomorrow. And once I'm done that, I'll be done pouring, and I can actually, if I care to, I can fill this with water again and put in some washing soda. Some sodium carbonate is the chemical name, and that will clean this thing inside like it was brand new. It's just amazing how well it cleans. So that's yet to be seen, if I have enough time to do that. I think I will. The weather is going to be taking an upswing for the next 4 or 5 days, so I think I'll have some time yet. I think I have to do what everybody loves doing, and wash pails now. There's pails here to wash, and I have water service, Nothing else is pressing, so I think I'd better get busy and start washing some pails. It's Friday, October 18th, 2024, and it's final pour day on the wax. So I haven't looked in here yet, but I can see the jacket is running at, it's 79, it's set at 80, so it'll be coming on here pretty soon. And yeah, so all I have to do is set up my trays here and then get to pouring this. I'm really looking forward to getting this pouring done. Just one last job to do this fall. The other jobs, of course, I'll be out tomorrow, Lord willing, applying oxalic acid vapor with my 2 InstantVap Compacts. And have to do that then after that 2 more times is the plan anyway. So yeah, Friday, end of the week, you'll be seeing this in the morning. Okay, here we go. And there's wax in the valve, but it'll start coming out faster because the wax coming out will melt the wax in the valve over time. There it comes. I'm gonna try to put quite a bit of wax in these this time because I don't want to pour it again. I don't want to run out of trays. And I think I have just enough trays this time. While it's hot now, I can move back to this tap and strain it just like I did before. And I think I'm going to do that because that'll get a lot of that slum out again. There's no big chunks because this has all been strained once already. So I think I'll do that. This tray is only about half full. And that's fine. That was a pretty good pour. Because this is the 11th tray. So not quite the 11th tray, not quite full. Now the problem with this idea is I've got a ton of water in here. So I need to empty this and fill it and then ferry it to the sink, etc., until I get down to the wax. And I don't want to melt the wax out of my strainer into the water and dump it down the sink. It's not good for the sink, and it's a waste of wax. This should really come whistling out of here. I often use a 5-gallon pail for this, which is a good thing to use because there's a lot of water here. But I want to use this tray so that when the wax appears, I'll just leave the water under the wax and set it to cool. The key is to not spill this hot water on myself on the way to the sink. I wish they'd put the exit of tanks at the bottom of the bottom because there's a couple pounds of wax in here. Okay. You can't see most of them for the table and the pails, but there's I think 13 of those there. And they're going to be probably 18 pounds each. So I think that adds up to well over 200 pounds. So we'll see. When it comes out of there, I'll weigh it. So that brings an end to the wax melting and rendering for this year. That was a really good haul. I often don't get that much wax. which is quite surprising with the amount of foundation that I used this year, which was quite a bit. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. Take care and have fun.